As we've already discussed, our dogs use their behaviour as a way of communicating with us. Sometimes we can get frustrated when our pets perform behaviours that we don't want them to do, and sometimes we can even punish our dogs for example, being destructive in the home or for urinating inside when we don't want them to. This is difficult for our dogs because we have to remember that behaviour is communication. And we're going to look a little bit more in this video about the different ways in which dogs communicate with each other and also with us, their human caretakers. Well-socialised dogs will usually enjoy the company of other dogs and will communicate effectively to put appropriate boundaries in place. Many normal aspects of dog communication may be misunderstood as aggression by humans. For example, a dog with its hackles erect is not necessarily aggressive, but just alert and interested in its surroundings. Similarly, a dog with a wagging tail is not necessarily friendly. As we can see in this video, a low tail wag accompanied by a tense body position is communicating fear and anxiety. Other signs of anxiety include flattened, tense ear position, a reluctance to look towards the thing that is making the dog uncomfortable, we call this gaze aversion, and being able to see the whites of the eyes, sometimes called whale eye. In this video, we can see two dogs playing. Dogs enjoying boisterous play will often growl or make noises that we have traditionally associated with aggression. But again, by studying the dog's body language and seeing that both dogs are contributing to the interaction and showing relaxed facial expressions and soft mouths, we can see that this is not an aggressive interaction, but a playful one. In this video, we can see that dogs are in general good friends, but by providing a special treat, we can see that the communication is now focused on guarding the treat or resource, and that a direct stare and growling are a definite threat that this dog will protect her precious treat. All of these behaviours are normal. They make sense in the context in which we are viewing them, and they are reasonable and normal communication behaviours. There are several things which may affect how dogs communicate with each other. And one of those things is how we've bred our dogs. For example, if we look at short-nosed dogs, like the bulldog or the pug, we can see that they often have quite a wrinkly nose. And nose wrinkles in dogs are naturally only associated with aggression. So selecting for traits like this can actually cause confusion when these types of breeds are trying to communicate with other dogs and make them appear artificially aggressive. Similarly, dogs that have undergone cosmetic mutilation, such as ear cropping or tail docking, may find it much more difficult to communicate effectively with other dogs. So it's really important when we're thinking about the type of breed we want to own, or how we might alter that breed cosmetically to make it more aesthetically pleasing for humans, how these changes may negatively impact on the behaviour and therefore the welfare of our dogs. Dogs also have ways of communicating that we don't really use. Pheromones are chemical signals produced and released into the environment by an animal which affect the behaviour or the physiology of others of its species. Pheromones are particularly important to cats, but dogs also use them to communicate. This video shows a dog chapping or tasting the air for pheromone signals. These chemical signals are processed in a special organ above the roof of the mouth. Pheromones are particularly important in communicating sexual availability in dogs and for offering reassurance between mothers and their puppies. In fact, a commercial product which mimics the mother dog pheromone has been shown to be useful in managing anxious behaviour even in adult dogs. It is incredibly important that we understand a dog's normal behaviour and allow our dogs to communicate appropriately with each other, but also that we respond appropriately to the messages they are trying to communicate to us. For example, many dogs will guard precious resources such as food or toys, and this behaviour is usually a learned response, either to a deprived environment that the dog has previously experienced, where guarding of resources was necessary, or to inappropriate attempts at training, where humans have taken food or a toy from the dog in an unpredictable way, and thus created anxiety and guarding of these resources. This type of behaviour shouldn't be punished. Remember, it is communication. If someone is trying to communicate with you and you stop them from doing so, or you ignore them, they will usually escalate their behaviour to make their point. And the same goes for our dogs. Punishing undesirable behaviours that dogs use to communicate their discomfort, such as growling, may result in the dog escalating its behaviour to more aggressive actions in order to make its point. Instead of punishing the communication, it's really important that we find out what is making the dog so uncomfortable and address that problem instead. We can build effective communication strategies with our dogs through consistent and positive training, through understanding their individual personalities and body language, and through creating trusting and reliable relationships. In fact, dog-human relationships are so important to our dogs that there are some behaviours that they only perform when they are interacting with their humans. If you've ever seen this behaviour in your dog, then please be reassured this is not aggression, but a dog mimicking the human smile. Only the incisor teeth are displayed and there are no nose wrinkles. This is literally a dog who has learned to grin at his humans. Similarly, dogs are one of the few species that understand human pointing, and experiments have shown that most dogs will follow a pointed instruction from a human, even if the pointing contraindicates a known food reward. Recent research has shown that for some dogs, praise and affection from their human owners is as rewarding as a food treat. So by building a relationship with our dogs, by learning to communicate effectively with them and investing time in socialisation and training, we can ensure that our presence is incredibly rewarding for our dogs. And this makes them not just well-mannered members of our human society, but also really good fun to be around and excellent companions for us, so that we can enjoy the relationship that we build in our own homes.